Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to our panel for being here today. In my district, this is a very specific situation that I'm hearing from all of my hospitals. In particular, I'll focus on Wake Med Hospital System. They're an 870-bed healthcare system with multiple facilities around Raleigh, North Carolina. They basically deal with the three primary vendors for IV infusions. And all three have experienced quality manufacturing issues as well as holiday production shutdowns that contributed to the shortage. Wake Med's pharmacy spent an additional $80,000 in January to stock up on the drugs in anticipation. I appreciate the efforts of the FDA to address the shortage, but it appears that they're only addressing the symptoms and not the real causes. I'm also concerned about the Medicare reimbursement system, especially the explosion of the 340B discounts is reducing margins for generic manufacturers. This is pushing them to stop producing low-cost generic injectables, just like the system is driving community cancer clinics into hospitals. It also appears that these manufacturers simply don't have the margins to invest in their manufacturing plants, which is why we see many of the quality problems. My question has to do with what is and how are we addressing these issues right now. I want to focus my questions today on the FDA's work with the industry to make sure everyone is working together to find solutions. Dr. Throckmorton, there remains virtually no transparency in the process for how drugs that make it onto the shortage list ultimately get off this list. How does the agency decide that a product is no longer in shortage, and is there a consistent and standardized formula for FDA uses to produce a product from the shortage list?
Thank you. The short answer is yes. We do have a consistent process that we use to apply to drugs to decide when they come onto the shortage list and when a shortage is no longer existing and they can come off it. Our focus is on determining whether or not patients in the U.S. can get the treatments that they need. So it's not focused on product by product shortage. So there may be a shortage of a buffered aspirin because one manufacturer of a kind of buffered aspirin may no longer be manufacturing, but there may be 4 other kinds of aspirin that are available. That will not be a shortage from our perspective because the other products can and will ramp up. That's something our people know about. Talk with those other manufacturers. We're able to assess using prescription data, using other data that we have access to. We can determine whether those other manufacturers can fill in for that manufacturer that's made a decision to not manufacture or needed to stop manufacturing to improve a plant or improve a product line. That's slightly different than the kinds of data that the University of Utah counts, the data that Dr. Cross is referring to. We're looking at the totality of the data, the availability of a given therapy, not an individual product. And so our numbers are slightly different than ASHP that the University of Utah have. We believe fundamentally ours reflect the availability of the therapy for the patients, which is our public health goal, if you will. But behind that, we have a process in place to determine when available production is not able to meet demand, and then work with manufacturers, and when production returns and is once again able to meet demand, to take something off of the shortage list.
Okay. Also, very specifically, there again, Dr. Throckmorton, the FDA's inspection of API can remain a barrier, and ANDA holder can market the generic drug. How has the agency tried to improve its record on this issue to ensure that the ANDA holders can market a drug and potentially address a drug shortage?
So 2 parts to that answer. The first part would be some of the actions that we've already talked about, the expedited reviews and some of the expedited inspections that the FDA has been able to do, particularly in shortage situations. There's a second, longer term, and it relates to the passage of GDUFA. So the Generics Drugs User Fee Act has provided us additional resources and additional opportunity to sort of balance the playing field, if you will, so that we're able to devote the resources we need to the generics market, which 85% of the U.S. drug market is generics now, we're able to allocate the resources that we need to that area to make certain they're getting the inspectional attention, the compliance history, the reviews from our reviewers that they need to. So that's an important addition for us.
Thank you so much, and I see my time has expired. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.